again. Let's get on here. Hey, how are you? I just had about 15 calls today, and I wanted to get on here to talk about how you really can move from the startup phase to actually starting your business. Hey, Jasmine, how are you? Hey, Rahul. Rahul, have you gotten on my calendar yet? Okay. Have you gotten on my calendar yet? I have 15 calls today, and you know what it told me? That um, I'm kind of going over the same thing. So I just said, let's talk about it tonight. Let's talk about it tonight. Do, 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 do. So you guys know how I do. First, I want to know where you're watching me from. Good evening. I want to know where you're watching me from. Please put your city or state in, or both, in the comments. I can know you're watching me from, and always it's good to know um, who my community is. And then, as we do always, if you are an aspiring home care business owner, give me the number one. If you are an emerging home care business owner looking to get emer- you're already in business. Emerging means you're already in business. Give me the number two. Let me see. Okay. Join. Let me see. All right. Let me see. All right. Making sure I'm not missing anybody's name. All right. This messages come up so fast here on TikTok. Hey, Valerie in Indiana. I spoke to about 5 people in Indiana today. So out of my 15 calls, 5 of them were from the state of Indiana. Okay. So that was a good thing because 3 of those 5 people were already licensed, and we'll talk about it. So for tonight's conversation, um, I want to talk to someone who is in the research phase, someone who's trying to start their business. You thought it about, you've been thinking of, let me do it like this. Hey you. um, have you ever thought about starting a home care business? Yes. But guess what's going on these days, guys? The more you research, the more you research how to start a home care business, the more overwhelming it becomes. If you feel like, oh, that's absolutely true, give me a why in the comments. The more you research, the more you Google, the more you join a Facebook group, the more you get on YouTube and University, the more confusing it becomes, right? Um, then, okay, great. All right. And remember, for some of the things you're going to hear, a lot of it is still surface information, right? Um, let me go over what you are, why there's so much information online about starting a home care business. Home care is proving Yeah, you did freeze because I was waiting for you. Still waiting for you to schedule your one-on-one. Everybody who's on TikTok, this is one of my mentees, Jasmine. Jasmine, you were in the winter home care Kickstarter program, right? And Jasmine, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, Jasmine is on TikTok. She's in my winter, I believe she's in the winter home care Kickstarter program. And guess what? So many things happen after she started the program. So many things happen. And Jasmine, I was actually prior to her starting, I was doing something on TikTok. They were having this thing called the YouTube. I'm not YouTube. There's something called Hillman Talk. I was doing that every Wednesday. I was getting on, giving a step by step of starting a home care business. Jasmine, do you remember that? We're from the US. You remember you were in the Hillman, you were watching me live on Hillman Talk. I would see if I could, you know, bring you on here, but I don't know if you want to get on in here. Oh, you joined in the spring. Okay. All right. So you joined in the spring. All right. Now, when you joined in the spring, do you I'm just randomly asking you a question because I want people to know. I just sent you an invite. You don't have to join if you don't want to, but um, if you do join, I left you a message. I read. Hey Jasmine.
Okay, I had to make sure my camera was off.
Yeah, you okay. All right. Because I just had so when I was doing the Hillman talk, right? And you actually joined the Kickstarter. From what I was sharing in the Hillman talk, and I was doing what I think I did like 5 weeks. Did I repeat anything Kickstarter?
Um, Repeated, no, but more in depth. It was definitely like same topics, but more detailed.
Okay. And so what I was trying to explain tonight is that when you found me, and I never found out if you found me on TikTok or if you found me somewhere else and it led you to TikTok, you were in the research phase. So what did the research phase of trying to figure out if you wanted to start a home care business look like for you?
Well, I spoke to other mentees, I guess, or consultants, and I just didn't like how their responses were or how they handled business just upon the initial phone calls, and that lack of communication. I came across your videos, I think, on YouTube and then found you on TikTok, but we actually had my little 10-minute, 15-minute
Mhm.
in April 2024.
Really?
Yeah.
April 2024?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. This okay.
Surprise.
Okay. Okay. I gotta look it back up. Okay. All right. Okay. So because I want to break down the research phase because I feel like I get that every Thursday when people call, and I feel like people don't even know what to ask, what questions to ask. So for you, I don't want you to do it in comparison, but what kind of questions were you asking then? What kind of questions were you asking?
Honestly, I don't even remember what I asked, but I know prior to starting, I was very I was unsure because I didn't know the requirements necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to college, but I stopped with 10 credits left. I know, long story.
Oh no, it's fine.
I stopped with 10 credits left. And, when you Google the administrator for a home care agency, sometimes Google tells you that you need a bachelor's degree and all that stuff. So then I was like, can I even do this? Then I was scared that I needed an RN on the application. And I was like, how would I even find one and convince one to sign my application? So I had a lot of questions and I was very hesitant to invest the money.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have never been able to do the policies and procedures in like 140 pages by myself in the short amount of time.
Or ChatGPT by the way.
Oh, yeah. In the short amount of time that I was able to just customize it to my business and submit it. And I think I froze once getting licensed. Well, I'm still working on it here and there, but the person creating my website and stuff is like frustrating me, so I need a few days to regroup. But I was expecting a lot longer of a period. So when I got my license back in 2 months, like pretty much 2 months to the day, it kind of scared me.
Because you didn't have anything to edit, right? We worked on the business plan and the Kickstarter. Did I do your business plan for you?
No.
I didn't do your.
There was a template and there was a guide, but
yeah,
no.
Right. I mean, we went over in the class, right? We went over in the class but essentially you did it yourself, right?
Yes.
With the guidance, right?
And that I can say that the question or the guide kind of scared me too, because you start to compare yourself and there's so much competition, and when you start researching your area and when you say like you don't see a particular car until you buy it.
Uh-huh.
That happened once I started in this process. Now I see certain cars on the road with advertisements on the side of the car or the signs or things like that. And, I start to get scared, and I think I'm stuck on trying to be perfect from the beginning because I don't want to look like the new kid on the block and I want to come off very professional. And that's what's making me very hesitant to like start, or I've been posting a little bit on Instagram, but really, really promoting services or even getting an RN because I do want to look perfect and legit from the beginning. But I need to realize that not everything is going to ever be perfect.
Never, ever, ever. Okay. So thanks for updating me on that. And we still got our 2 calls, our 2 Zooms.
I know.
Okay. So I guess you're gonna wait till you showing me something, right? But
because like I said, now looking back, these are things that I could have been working on in the waiting period. Which I didn't do because I guess I was thinking that it was going to take like 6 months. I really wasn't expecting to get the license that quick, especially because that's what the Maryland website says. It says 4 to 6 months, or 4 to 6 months, I think it says. And when I got it back in 2 months, I was very shocked.
For the record, you are our quickest license approval, and so I'm glad that you're saying that, because I would still tell anybody who would work with me, like if they were to join the fall, they could still take 4 to 6 months, because you know what? Maryland is extremely fickle.
I can say, even though the policies and procedures was laid out and I had all the verbiage and everything, I probably spent 40 hours on the policies and procedures myself, perfecting it, formatting it, making it a lot easier for them to go through it. I made it clickable where they could click the PDF from section to section. So I did work on it a lot, which could have helped make them go through the application process a lot easier.
Okay, so instead of them just reading it in the format that we had, you added like table contents and like you said,
it was clickable, and it brought them right to that section. And then you have to fill out each page, the page number on the application, so it all corresponded.
Cool. All right. So that's good to know. But it was edible for you to do that. And now that you did that initially, you don't have to update it anymore.
Yes.
You don't have to update it anymore. Those are all of your licensing policies. Now, what kind of questions? No, she doesn't have an office space. She's using a home office right now, correct?
Yes.
Right? Because you can in this state. What kind of questions did you have in the startup phase? So let's say maybe prior to, seeing some of my things on Hillman Talk, what kind of questions were you asking? Because I can't honestly say I remember the question you asked me or even other consultants when you're getting started.
Yeah, I'm usually, even in Hellman Talk or on the Kickstarter, I'm very quiet and I just absorb.
Yeah. Yeah, but you said you have reached out to others. Like, so you reached out to me back in April 2024, and then, but it took you, you know, well over 6 months to join, almost a year. Yeah, almost a year to join.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was unsure, but the question, like I said, the questions that I had was the qualifications that I needed as an individual, and like anybody that would like be RN or anything like that that I would need for the licensing phase. Now after hearing, um, the class and the information that you give on TikTok, to know that getting an RN is not as hard as I thought it would be. Well, I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I'm hoping it's not as hard as I thought it would be. But just to know that I don't need it for the application, or I don't need a degree, I don't need an office space. Just a lot of things that are very minute, but it was holding me back. And I could have been a lot farther in my career, or in my business, I should say, if I started a year ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I get you because there's still like some people telling, like, especially if you're starting a agency in Maryland, I get asked, so you don't need an R in your application. And I literally tell them to go look up the application. Did you see any spot where there's where you would list the RN?
No, and that's another thing too. When I was trying to research, the I feel like the Maryland websites are not the easiest to navigate.
Correct.
So without your link, I can't even find the application.
Okay. Right. So because we just wanted you to, boom, there's the regulations, boom, there's an application, boom, that's where you submit, right? That's where you do your RSA.
When I would Google the application, it would bring me to the different I don't even know if it shows that anymore, because this is when they were still doing the level 1, 2, 3, and then the certificate of need. It would bring me to all of that information. So I think that is one question that I asked you on our initial call a year ago, was about the certificate of need. And you were like,
Okay.
why would you need that? You didn't even know what that meant at that point.
Got you. Yeah. Okay, got you. All right. Yep. And we have someone that's going to go over that in the home care startup, the stack up conference, because
I need to sign up for that. I have until the 21st, right?
Yeah. And actually, I might be moving the date, guys. I'm still deciding by the to the beginning of November, just because we have so much. Like, I feel like I may have messed up and scheduled it around the same time as the Black Caucus. And I definitely want to get with some of my legislator network and get you guys some real answers on what's going to be happening, not just in the DMV, but all over with the OBB, one big beautiful bill. So I might be moving it to November the 8th, but I'll let you guys know for sure. And so that could change the early bird special to keep it. Well, because you're a mentee, you have a special price. Because you're a mentee, you have a special price. But yeah. But with that being said, somebody's asking about Illinois. What's the startup cost for Illinois? I actually just spoke to someone in Illinois. Okay, so that's kind of like what I was getting to today, and you kind of answered. You thought that you had to have more education, because you were seeing different things to be an administrator. You thought you had to have the RN. Was there anything on your application, even though you're doing non-medical? Is there anything else that I'm missing that you're asking in your research phase? Because the research phase is where I feel like most people get the most overwhelmed and confused. Yes, we do work in Texas.
Also, cost.
Oh, the cost. Yeah.
Yeah, like cost and money that you would need if you would need to show any money in the bank or anything like that in order to get licensed. But I also feel like I have not a unique case because I'm sure that a lot of people do this, but I think there's a lot of confusion that I have about services that could be offered because home care is close to home. I grew up with my uncle living in my house who's been paralyzed since I've been 3 from the neck down.
Mm.
So I've had an aide in my house 24/7 since I was 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
So
She's
just
11.
knowing,
She's 11.
no, not a living shift.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Okay. So so you have a rotation of aides.
yes, so
Gotcha.
just seeing services that he gets and and they're in New York. I just recently moved to
Got you.
Maryland.
Got you. Okay. That makes
But,
sense.
seeing those services that he could get and then what's allowed out here, and that has me confused too. So I think I'm gonna that will be something that we speak about on our one-on-one, just so I
Okay.
can really get detailed on what's allowed out here, as far as companion care and personal care and what's allowed under each, because there's certain things that I think we allow out here that his agency doesn't allow his aides to do, and it has me confused. And I don't even know if he was to be able to move out here, if I would even be able to have him under my agency because of his medical need. So I
Yeah.
think that's why I'm confused too about different services that I could offer because of how I grew up seeing it one way, and it might be something completely different.
Absolutely. And really quick, getting a question. Do you have to have an office before the state issue your license? No, depending on the state. There's a lot of states that will allow you to have a home office, a dedicated space in your home office. So because I don't know where you're located, I'm gonna just tell you that there are a lot of states, most states, especially if you're non-medical, will allow you to start in with a home office. Oh, Texas, Texas, yes, yes. Texas will allow you to have um, an initial for a PSA, for a personal service agency license. Correct.
Can I ask one question before
Sure.
I go?
Sure. Absolutely.
It's about like after getting licensed, at what point does the survey happen?
Okay. So here's a good thing for you. Right now, you don't have a survey. I know you're
Oh,
like,
they don't,
huh?
they don't.
No. So a couple of things happen, uh, which is that they don't have the staff to come out and do your survey.
Mm,
So what you're under the radar for your first 3 years, right? Meaning you get a complaint, they coming out in 72 hours,
okay.
right? And then they also are assuming that you will, apply to be a Medicaid provider. Have you um, looked at that site
I
yet?
haven't. I started it, and it was starting. I didn't want to submit the wrong information, and it was starting to confuse me with some of the questions that they asked. So that would be something that I would use a call for.
Okay. And now you need to have your RN, 'cause
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure if you saw that. You got to have your RN there on the application, right?
We didn't even get to that far. I did get my NPI to be able to get into the Medicaid application and stuff and go. And then some of the questions that they started to ask, I was just very confused if I should hit yes or no. So we'll do that on the call. But I did try to start getting my office space with the 2 separate filing cabinets and with the locks and all that, to just in case, because I didn't know how soon a survey would happen.
Okay, yeah. And then during the call, a couple of things. Are there surveys in Ohio? Not if you're non-medical. They're not really doing surveys right now. When we get on, let's try to do two things in our first one-on-one Zoom, and that's whatever point you get up to and with the application, let's review it and then kind of show me what you have done at the office. So I can say, I would say send me a picture, but you can also do that if you want to. So let's do those two things. And I helped somebody else in the winter program with submitting their application. So you can use your Zooms for anything,
Okay.
just about, right? Just about, just about, right? All right. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that was impromptu, and I'm going to get to your questions. I'm in Virginia. I want to start an agency. Great. All right, we can definitely help you in Virginia. First, go over to my Savvy Business Chick YouTube channel and watch the video on how to start an agency in Virginia. We can help you with a skilled or non-skilled. So for those of you who are just now joining, I came on here because of a lot of the questions that we got asked. Um, just earlier today. Today I'm usually on a lot of um, Zooms. Sorry, not Zooms. Calls I do for free every Thursday, and it still feels like people are very confused. And what I think is that they get confused in the research stage. So I wanted to give you answer some questions. Whether you jump on, if you're on TikTok, I can actually bring you up here a little bit better and just go over some of the things that I get asked all the time. Okay. So, and why this matters. Okay. So many people are becoming interested in the home care or home health care industry because the demand for senior care is not going away. And I know a lot of people are like, is it still safe because of the one big beautiful bill? You have to really look at all of those different headlines that's coming up and know that one thing, even with the one big beautiful bill being put in place, one thing that is not going away is the senior tsunami that's coming, right? And it's set to really start to surge in 2030, right? So with us being, past the halfway mark of 2025, we have 4 years to really get ourselves ready, right? We got 4 years to get ourselves ready. And because the demand for senior care is here. It's pretty much here. If you're not getting set up, then you are going to kind of be like what happened when people um saw bitcoins take off. They're like, oh, somebody told me about bitcoins and I didn't understand it. Very common. If somebody tells you about something and you don't understand it, then come on a free live, you know, read a book, talk to some people and get to understanding it. Because the people that jumped on things like a Bitcoin in its early stage and held on to it, boy, are they benefiting from it right now. So you don't want to jump on something when the cost of doing it is high, and that's what could happen if you wait too long to get started. Right. All right. So the demand up for senior care is I was trying to do some writing. The demand for senior care is um if not already here, it's going to be at its peak in 2030. So I want everybody to write 2030 if you're following along. We've already seen, we've had a really strong example that in because of COVID, the home care industry has shown everyone that we are the most recession resistant business. Now, recession proof meaning, it's almost like bulletproof. I got a bulletproof vest on, right? No, we're recession resistant, right? Meaning when you're recession resistant, some people, you might feel like some of the effects of from a recession. But as you build your business up, as you utilize some of the resources that are provided to business owners, you can resist a business that goes down. And a lot of home healthcare businesses surge during COVID, right? Where other industries, hospitality, restaurants, even some real estate, everything, what the airline industry, housing industry, restaurants, nail salons, hair salons, you name it. All of these industries were down on their knees when it came to when COVID was going on. Do you guys remember that? Hi. Oh, that's my big sister. That's my big sister. Pebbles. I'll love you too. You haven't gotten the link? Oh, hi, Linda. Okay. Okay. I'm in Florida. I would like to open an agency. I was told the cost was very expensive. Frederica, it depends. I will bring you up here. It depends on the type of agency that you're starting in Florida, because there are two that are very expensive. I will definitely tell you, yes, that is. We are a new home care agency and we want to scale and grow. How can we contact you? Go to my website, www.savvybusinesschick.com, and or click the link in my bio to get on my calendar. Okay. All right. So you guys writing that? Let me see. I meant to thought someone writing while they were doing it. So let me put this up here. Um, these are some factors. This black isn't working as good. And I'm gonna pull it over. Demand for senior care. And this black is not working good. I got a whole set of markers. Okay, these are your why it works. Why it works, right? Can you guys see that? Let me see if I can flip it over. Hold on. Make sure you guys can see it. Hold on. Let me see. Um, okay, can you guys see that? All right, my back camera. Want you to be able to read this. Uh-oh. Can you read it? Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Bring it up. All right. My setup, guys. All right. All right. So these are your whys, right? So even if you are a existing business owner, remember that the demand for senior care is continuing to rise, right? Right? And we're supposed to hit our peak 2030. 2030, right? This is the first peak, right? Then we got 2040 and 2050. Every 10 years after that, there is another peak. Now, this first peak is going to be, I might want to turn the light off because I think it's going to be better for you to see it. All right, maybe you guys can see it a little bit better there. This first peak is going to be really, really pivotal because a lot of people in this first peak, guys, are like yes, yeah, are already 65, right? This first peak, they're already 65. And so what's going to happen is that they're going to be more so like in the age 70 to 75. Now we can say, you know what? There are a lot of people living more healthy these days. Can you guys see the screen on TikTok? There are a lot of people. That's because I'm using my back camera and I'm like really trying to. Okay, there are people who are living more healthy these days, right? And because they're living more healthy, they are they might not need as much care at age 65, right? But when you get into age 70 and 75 and 80, the need for care starts to increase. The need for care starts to increase, right? So here's our first peak, right? Those who are already business owners will reap the benefit from the first peak. Now, what does the first peak look like? The first peak looks like where in uh, one time in history, let me put this back. For the first time in history, 70 million, 70 million people will be 65 and up. You guys got that? 70 million will be 65 and up. 70 million. You guys got that? If you're following me, don't forget to give some hearts so we can definitely get more visibility with this broadcast. 70 million, 65 and up, right? So here is why this industry is recession is resistant. Remember, we have COVID. COVID first showed us that we can even work through a plague and still be in business, right? Then we have, it's kind of like macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is the supply and demand, right? Meaning the demand, because we have this large group of people coming, the demand for the care that they need is going to be very, very high. It's going to be very, very high. And I'm going to point that out when I switch this screen over. Now, this potential to change lives. Now, if some people will say, you know what, I don't have to go get my nails done every week, every other week, every month. I can cut back from going to a restaurant. Maybe we just go once a month. Maybe we go on special occasions. I um I don't have to buy new clothes. I can use what I got. I can keep it clean. I can keep it together. So all of these factors, another industry doesn't have. We have the potential to change lives because if we are not in place, someone might be depressed. Somebody might be left alone. Somebody might be neglected. Somebody might fall, might not get the care they need. Somebody might aspirate. Somebody might choke. Somebody might um, uh, not be able to recover after hospital, being in the hospital, being in rehab after a surgery. All of these factors. So this is why it works. Why does it work? The man, we're recession resistant, and we can change lives because of the care services we provide. Okay, so I'm going to change my, flip the camera back around because it's actually kind of hard to write like that. I normally write, I normally am standing up writing, so I want to change the camera back around so I can, let's see, how am I going to do this? Um, a minute, guys, because I can't even see messages that's coming up on here. Flip the camera. Okay, yeah, I couldn't even see messages coming up. So, okay, so now I can get back to this. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. So true. Okay, hey, how are you? All right, cropped. Yeah, I didn't switch it before I did them. Um, okay, so all right, so this is why I was saying when people get into the research phase, they get the most confused. When I was on here with Jasmine, she hit the nail with one thing. A lot of you, when you start doing your research on Google, and put in the chat if you are in the research phase where you have gone to look up information for starting a home care business. It's been Google, has it been YouTube, has it been any other source, talking to people. Um, but here's where most people hit a brick wall, and that's because of when you go looking up how to start a home care business, you might get sent to how to start a home health agency. And that's why there was a young lady on, what you call it, here on TikTok. She said, I heard that Florida was really expensive to start. Florida has about 4 different license types, right? And very, very confusing. One state, why do they have so many license types? They have a homemaker companion license, which is the easiest license to get in Florida. They have a nurse registry license. Now, I know the name doesn't sound like it's home care, but nurse registry license. They have a home health agency license, non medical, and they have a home health agency license, which is skilled. Out of those four licenses, right, none of them say home care. So if you were typing how to start a home care agency in Florida, different things would pop up, but you wouldn't find an application. You wouldn't find a link to get the application. It was just like it constantly sends you on a rabbit hole. Okay, homeboy Trish, a homebody Trish says YouTube. She searched on YouTube, right? So you search on YouTube, great. When you search on YouTube, guess what? I show up, five, six other people show up. They show up, and as you should, you watch their program, you get information. Okay, this one tells me this one tells me this. Some are conflicting, some are incomplete, and then you feel even more overwhelmed, right? As Jasmine said, who got up, she said she got on a call with some people. She didn't like some of their answers. And, if you are going to get help, you do need to make sure that there is a connection there, right? So by the end of this live, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it all in one, I want you to know exactly what happens between you having an idea to start a home care business to you taking your first step. And if you're ready to take your first step, I want you to put first step in the comments. I will answer that. Hey, how are you? Great question. What's the difference with the agency versus the home health? Are you talking about a specific state? Tahar, what do you mean? Both and people who have them? I'm not sure if okay. You're ready to take the first step. Okay, great. I'm seeing first step on YouTube. All right, good stuff here. I'm seeing some good answers here. Okay, let me pull this up. Where is this? And then I just had. Hang on 1 second. Okay, I guess it's not meant for me to share this thing. Okay, so your first stage is your business idea. Okay, so your next stage is your research phase, right? So that's what I was getting to, but I was going to try to share something on YouTube, but I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, so here are a couple of scenarios that happen, right? You're either a family caregiver, you have been caring for a loved one, and you realize that do this, I could totally do this. I have the care, I have the empathy, maybe your background, you have the administrative skills to, organize some things. Maybe you have an agency and you've been helping them keep your family members' affairs together. And by doing some care with that loved one, you're also developing that skill, right? I was talking to a gentleman on he's in Michigan, He started around COVID. I connected with him on my home care mentor Instagram page, and he started out as a family caregiver. Believe it or not, he started out as a family caregiver for his dad. He's Spanish speaking, and whenever the agency maybe had someone that called out or something like that, they convinced him to sign up to work for their agency. He did so he can get paid. And then um, eventually he told me he ended up like getting some additional training from that agency that ended up not lasting. No, I think he ended up maybe buying the agency or taking it over. But with that being said, he would be a home care agency owner, CEO that came from the pathway of home care, of being a family caregiver. Another scenario is that someone is a healthcare professional. They're a registered nurse, they're LPN or LVN, they're a CNA, they're healthcare home healthcare aide or homemaker, and you have been looking for freedom from the bedside. You're looking for freedom from the bedside, and you're tired of shifts. You're tired of not being able to control your own schedule. You're burnt out. You don't spend enough time with your family. You spend more time with your client than you do your family. And you don't see an end to this cycle. You don't see an end to the cycle because you're so good at what you do, the agency depends on you. And, they pay you just enough to, have some kind of lifestyle, but you don't have freedom, right? And I just want to plug in here that when you start a home care business, I don't want you to only want to be successful. I want you to want to have that financial freedom for you to go on vacations, not have to be in the office all the time. But that's another thing. Like it's that's a stage that I call the home care CEO. Because the moment that I left coming into the office every day, that was that was more I felt more successful than making a whole bunch of money every year and every month too. Okay, so all right, so going back to the research page and why the research page is so important to any delays that you may have in starting up, right? So you don't know what to search for. I pointed this out one time when actually a couple of times. One time in particular when I was sharing how to start a home care business in Tennessee. If you were to research how to start a home care business in Tennessee, number one, the application is not even for the personal service agency, it's like hidden down underneath another program, right? And so the way that they word things, it's like, oh, Indiana might have personal service agency. So you think you're looking for home care agency license and it doesn't even exist. And so therefore you keep getting a lot of dead ends in your searches, right? So you really have to know what to search for, right? A lot of people search broad and not very specific terms, right? And then because you're not getting anywhere, you're getting a lot of overwhelming information, you just end your search. I've been researching based off YouTube, Google, and people who have an agency, which is not much help. ITR, where are you located? And where are you located? North Carolina and Maryland. Okay, cool. Good, good, good. All right. All right. Okay. Cost. Cost, cost, cost. Okay, so there are a lot of things that you will not be able to find online. Number one, I want you guys to write this down. You will not be able to find Medicaid reimbursement rates online. You won't. If you're basing your starting a home care business by being able to see how much Medicaid pays, Medicaid's going to reimburse you, then you're going about this with a single payer in mind. You only got one payer in mind that you feel like can help you start or grow your business, and then that's a big problem, right? Should you know so you can be able to do your cost analysis? Absolutely, you should know, right? But it's not public information. It's not public information. The way that you get to know that is that you can join. That's something you can potentially get from joining a Facebook group. But guess what? You wouldn't join a general Facebook group. You need to join a Facebook group that is dedicated to that state. Now, I have a bittersweet relationship with a lot of these Facebook groups because if you're in the research phase, it can really, really, really overwhelm you. So can you tell you what? Because there's no one rate. Every state has their own rate. This is like if you're asking if I can tell you what the Medicaid rate is, number one, every state has their own rate. The MCOs have different rates. So let's say you have 3 or 4 MCOs in your state. They could be different by $1.25. There is no, it can be a one rate for respite care and another rate for personal care. And not getting into that, but just because I didn't want you to think that I was gatekeeping. But with that, you need to, you're not going to know 100% some of that information until you're actually licensed. Okay. So some people, when you're researching, you get shocked by cost, right? And again, these are things that if you don't have a sound mind and understanding of what these things mean, there's some states that have a very, very high licensing cost, meaning the application for you to get licensed can be high. The lowest is about $75. That's the homemaker companion license in Florida. The highest it's $5,600. Whoa, that's a pretty big difference, right? There's some states that their application fee is over $1,000, right? So when you're doing your startup budget, how are you documenting, how are you counting the cost for how much money you need, right? Then even if you don't buy policies or get someone to help you with the policies, what happens is that you use time working on those policies, right? So if we were to say, okay, you make $30 an hour and you spend 100, let's say you spent 80 hours working on your policies, that's the price of your policies right there because you did them, right? So there's still always a cost. Then you have insurance. So a lot of states that in the application process, you have to have either general liability insurance, professional, um, a surety bond. There are about 4 different insurances. You have to have insurance. That's a cost. That's a cost shock, right? And what most people, I never get asked this question when someone's in a research phase. Very, very rarely do I get asked that question. Insurance is a cost that you have to prepare for. And guess what? There are several states that will say, yeah, you got to implement that policy before we approve you. And that becomes like a cost shock to a lot of people because they can't wrap their mind around, well, why am I paying for a policy and I'm not even approved? Because it's like almost the same. Well, it's not the same, but you know how like you can't get um tags until after you show the motor vehicle that you have auto insurance. They don't trust you, so they want to make sure that you have implemented that policy. So whether you implement that policy 2 days before they review it, you have to go and implement that policy. Then marketing has a cost. Even if you're doing low marketing strategies, marketing still has a cost, right? Yes, paying for workers' comp when I can't hire anyone was crazy to me. Yeah, paying for workers' comp because which is a requirement for you to get licensed. They don't really, I know it's kind of, it's not fair, but they don't really leave room for you to debate. They don't leave room for you to debate why. It's like either you give it to us or you don't, right? If you don't give it to us, you don't get a license. Like there's no gray area there, right? So yeah, getting a workers' comp, right? And so you gotta have it. You gotta get that done. You know, I had to have an RN on my application back in the day. So I had to find one. That would have been even more of a costly expense for some people because it's not like you can put an ad out for an RN, right? How do you put an ad out for an RN if you're not even licensed? Are you coming across like are you being deceitful by saying you're hiring for them for a job and they won't work for several months? How do you do that? Right? Again, these are questions that no one ever asks me. Well, they may ask me, well, do I need an RN? And then if I say yes, their second question was, well, do you supply one? I don't. I don't supply one. I don't supply an RN. No. And there aren't there aren't any uh consultants that can technically supply your RN without charging you a fee. They're gonna charge you a fee for that. Right. All right. Okay. So now we're going to get to um, somewhat of a fun stage when you're reaching out for help. And I might end here and then ask some questions. Okay. The idea came to you. You feel like you're qualified to do it because of one of those scenarios. You're either a serial entrepreneur and you said, this industry is pretty lucrative, it's recession resistant. I feel like I can be properly make some money here, blah, blah, blah. And then or you're a healthcare worker or family caregiver, whatever your reason is, the idea came and then you start pursuing um, turning it into a reality. We talked about the research phase and just the tons of questions that you're plugging into Google, the tons of the binge watching of the YouTube videos, and then maybe you're at the stage of reaching out to talk to some people. Thank you so much for sharing. Right? So you're reaching out to some people to seek help, right? Now, I get told all the time, yeah, I know someone in my family, or I know this lady, they know someone that owns a home care business, right? Or a home health care business. And they know them because they've been doing it for a long time. They're very successful. And by the time they get to, let's say, someone like me, they're now perplexed because this person said they were going to help them, but now the help isn't there. Literally had something like this happened. This was one of my last calls today. So on Thursdays, I have free call Thursdays. I do your first initial call for free. And it was a couple, they're engaged. And first they said they wanted to start join my home care Kickstarter program, which includes policies and procedures per per the state requirement, right? And then next they were like, "Well, what if we have our own policies?" I was like, if you have your own policies, then don't get my policies." And then they started telling me a little bit more. Well, we know this lady, she's been licensed for a long time ago. First red flag to me. She was licensed a long time ago. I'll tell you why. So she gave us policies and she said check them over. Okay. Check them over for spelling, check them over for that your name is on there, right? This is what the couple is telling me. So I'm like, oh, okay. So she said, check it over. So all right, great. So then the the woman, because it's a fiance, a couple, she said she goes through the policies, but guess what? The person that they are working with tells her to go through the policies. She don't know what she's looking for. How are you going to go through policies and you don't know what you're looking for? If somebody says, hey, I got some policies that are already done for you, check it for grammar. And she checks it and she reads through them all. She would not know. And I have to tell her that. I said, you wouldn't know until you got a survey if those policies were good or not. And I told her, absolutely don't get the policies from me because no need for her to double pay or whatever she did to get those policies. But I mean, here's the thing. When I started working with my home health care mentor, she had an agency too, a very successful one. She told me, I'm going to show you my policies so you can know the framework, the lingo that you need to use. But I work I wrote all of my policies from scratch. So framework looks like this. There is a layout to how policies should look. I have a video on my YouTube channel on how to do your policies, right? This is why I say ChatGPT does it like that. They give you a paragraph, right? Um, then you have to have it in the correct format. Then a certain language you do have to use when you are writing a home care or home health care policy, right? So I was able to look at her policy and say, oh, okay. And that we didn't have ChatGPT. So I was reinterpreting the sentence or the language and making it more modern and also making sure that it was in compliance with the regulations, right? So, with that being said, I was really confused by that conversation. So, I told them definitely don't join the Kickstarter. They can join the Next Step program, which is, for people who either already have their policies and procedures or people who are have been licensed just for, uh, under a year. So, but when you're reaching out to people, remember, um, you have I have that video where I said, kind of vet them out. Um, if you ask friends, if you ask family members, and their advice is not forthcoming, in fact, they may start ghosting you. We don't have people that just openly share how to start a home care business. So just know that some people are going to be guarded. Some of the information is going to be guarded. So you have to just trust and believe that you're getting the right information and not right information. You have to trust and believe that you are choosing the right person to work with you. Now, don't always go with money, right? Because if I tell you a little bit more about the story, they paid this person $2,000. $2,000 is a lot of money, right? Our, you know, $2,000 is a lot of money. But if you go back to my video of how to vet a potential home care coach or home care consultant, you got to know what are you getting with what they're giving you, right? What's included in that amount, right? And what they started telling me is they can't reach her. She just basically gave them the policies and procedures, and they're not able to ask her any questions because she don't know anything. She don't know anything. So they the young lady was thinking she had to study the policies because she thought that she was going to get some kind of pop-up test. She thought the survey process was like a pop-up test, right? And I had to like just give her, a couple of, some advice on that. But when you're seeking advice, guys, um, do reach out. I reach out to some consultants, reach out to some coaches, right? And other than the price, because the price point is definitely, a factor. I mean, what are they bringing to your startup experience, right? And even if it's a friend, even if it's a family member, even if someone at your church or something like that, and they're like, oh, I can help you. Okay, what does that look like? Right. And the moment it doesn't look like what you initially thought, then you have to figure out if you're going to let that stop you, slow you down, or, because some of it is also on you. Some of it is also on you. If you do the family member, friend, neighbor, associate route, a lot of times people get a little bit lax and then they blame the person. I had a lady say last week, she said, oh, I had someone helping me with this. And I mean, he helped me get licensed, but after that, he couldn't help me anymore. Well, did you find that out prior to working with him? That that's all he was able to do. Because if that's all he was able to do was get you licensed, then we have to say, okay, guess what? You are now over a major milestone. Do you need more help? Absolutely. Do you need more guidance and direction? Absolutely. But let's just celebrate that you're now licensed. Okay. Let me see. Let me answer some questions. All you have to do is read the state provider manual. You can almost copy it verbatim. That is not true. I don't know what state you're in, but that is not true. There's literally states that say, do not copy this policy. What state are you in? Because there's literally states that say, do not copy and paste this regulation as a policy. Let's see. See something. I'm looking for one of the states that I remember that goes over that. Hi. I think because I did a bank search. Mm, It's taking too long for me to find this. I know Pennsylvania was one of them. Um, okay. Um, that's it. Okay. I can't find it right now, and I'm taking up too much time. I don't want to take up too much time for that. So people have to write their own policies and procedures. What state are you in again? Yes, you do. Georgia? So you're telling me you literally copied and pasted your policies and procedures from Georgia from the state website? Is that what you did? Okay. Yep, we have a policy and procedure kit for South Carolina. Not literally. What do you mean, not literally? Almost verbatim, not fully. I'm not even understanding your explanation. Please send me please send me your for South Carolina. Please send me a DM and I will of your email address. Okay. Hey Sean, I'm interested in joining your mentorship. How do I sign up? Um you're in Michigan, by the way. Okay. We have click the link in my bio for the home care Kickstarter program, or you can if you send me an email, we do offer a payment plan. Payment. I was about to pull up Indiana. I think that was another one. Okay, let me just finish up these two things I was gonna wait for next time. Um, okay, goal setting. When you're starting, okay, so we have your business idea, you have your research phase, you have um, getting help or reaching out for people to assist you, and then you have setting a goal. So when you're setting a goal, this should be your official start date. And what day are you going to take yourself seriously and either start working on your application, start working on your business plan, start, saving money, whatever that looks like. I have people that contact me and they say, "Yeah, I've already started my business." I was like, "Oh, okay, great. But I haven't got licensed yet." So in my mind, your business hasn't started until you're licensed. In this industry, unless you're in a non-regulated state like Arizona, Iowa, Michigan, Massachusetts, you have not started, you cannot technically start until you are licensed. We're not a storefront, right? You cannot start until you're licensed. Okay. So the when you're in the goal setting stage, you need to what's going to be your start date. Now, when you were doing your research, you should have found out, well, how long does it even take for me to get licensed after I submit my application? Some 3 months, some um 60 days, some 6 months, some 9 months. Delaware right now is one of the longest. It takes 18 months to get your application approved, right? So what's your timeline? What are your milestones? What are when you do your goal, I'm going to be licensed by the summer. I'm going to be operating by the fall. That should include within your milestones and your goals, you should have some budgeting along that. Okay, I'm gonna open up my bank account and put this much money in. I'm gonna start using my bank account for expenses, right? Separating, you know, one time or reoccurring expenses. And something that we really go over a lot at the very beginning is you should really know your license type slash your client type, right? That you're going to service initially. Your license type. So someone had asked me, what's the difference between a home care and home health care agency? Home care agency is a non-skilled personal care agency. You can have a CNA, a home health aide, a personal service, a personal care aide, a homemaker, a companion, working for your agency. And one of the biggest differences is that you would not be doing any kind of medication management. You wouldn't give anyone insulin. I got to address that because I had a phlebotomist that wanted to start a home care agency. And she said, well, what if I know how to do it. I do it at my job. You can't do it. You're not licensed to be able to do that in your home care agency. It is where we get the term ADLs. Your agency can provide the ADL services, but that's pretty much all you do. On the skilled level, um, you have like two phases. You have uh, skilled nursing, and that's where you have an RN or a RN and or LPN. Sorry, RN and LPN level, but you also get all of the below. So you also get the personal care level too. But at a skilled nursing level, you can actually apply for private insurance, right? You can do Medicaid. You can do all of the other lower level services as well because you have a nurse on duty that, I mean, not say on duty, a nurse who will assist with those doctor's orders, but now you can administer medication. So, administer medication is where one of your workers can physically give your client medication by mouth, by and if they have like a G tube, right? But most people forget just like uncommon medication, right? So if you're a um, personal care agency, non-medical home care agency, and let's say your client has some kind of something going on with their scalp and they have a medicated shampoo, guess what? You can't give it. If you're a personal care agency, you can't shampoo their hair because that is seen as medication administration. That is seen as medication administration. So you can't do it. A skilled agency could do it. Now, lastly, you have home health agency, HHA. That is the Medicare certified agency. And that's where when Jasmine was talking, she was like, what's a CON? A CON, a lot of states will require, like states like Arkansas, DC requires it, Maryland requires it, um, South Carolina on the skilled side requires it. What is the other state off the top of my head? Um, a certificate of need a certificate of need is where you have to show the state that another home health care agency or Medicare certified is needed. And I can do a second phase or I have a free video on want to start a home care agency, watch this first. You can watch that and it will break things down a lot more in depth. I'm just ignoring Jasmine. That's why I'm like, I don't even, I'm not even answering. If they want, yes, people should. I will have someone on on TikTok that says you can literally um just copy the state regulation and um copy and paste to your own policies. And I disagree, but that's all I'm going to do because it's not um, it's not advantageous for me to keep going back and forth or try to show you guys um, otherwise. So if you feel like you can do that and you did that in Georgia, congratulations, congratulations for that. Should you read your policy, your regulations? Absolutely. Everybody should read your regulations. And actually, I should have put that in the research phase. One of the other reasons why you get confused is because you should read the regulations. Now, one of the first things that my mentor who helped me get started told me to do was to read the regulations. Now, when you read the regulations, you're going to pull them for your state and your license type. They're going to be confusing, right? And so you're not reading it to study it. You're not reading it as if you're going to get an exam. Just read it passively and just, allow yourself to just absorb some of the information that it's sharing. Who told you 60 days? Hey, AM quality care. Who told you 60 days? Who told you 60 days? Okay. Okay, Aspen said yes, Indiana. I remember seeing it when I was with my eye. That's why I just said I need to stop um trying to um share something. I don't have anything to prove to this person. I don't know if it's a male or female. They don't even have a real handle on um TikTok. They don't even have like a face on TikTok. Um, tell that's just like telling people you can use Chat GPT. I'm gonna I did a demonstration before um on taking a regulation, and you guys can do this. How about you do this if you're still in the research phase? Pull your regulations, right? Take one of the regulations or requirements, plug it into ChatGPT and see what it says. It's going to give you a paragraph, and not a long paragraph. It won't even come Now it won't even cover a whole page. And that's why when I say don't use ChatGPT, we're still training it. ChatGPT is an amazing, amazing um, system. You can use it for so many things, but it's still learning, right? And it does not know how to do certain things. But once it gets trained, I'm sure it will. But right now, plenty of people have gotten rejected by using it. Arkansas says 3 to 6 months, but it took me 9 months. Yep, yep, I can see that. Oh, thank you. DHS. Let me see. Oh, they told you 60 days. Yep, to come for the inspection in Arkansas. Okay. So that part, when you're getting into the inspection, is a whole different ball game, right? It's a whole different ball game. Let me see if it'll let me share this now. Okay, still not letting me share. Let's see here. Okay. So when you're going, so in closing, and I'll take 3 questions. When you're going from concept to taking the first step, you have your business idea that comes to you. You're doing your research. You're getting assistance. I can actually probably share it a little bit easier here. You're going from research. It's not letting me share it on. This is what I was trying to share. Got your business idea. You're in your research phase. You're getting assistance or not. You're establishing your goals, and you're just getting started. Now, whatever you're getting started looks like, if you're getting started looks like um you do 30 days of research, and then you're getting started 3 months after you did your idea, or you're getting started right away. Please note that it is okay for you to have fears, anxieties, um, to be afraid, to be nervous, um, a lot of different feelings when you're starting your first business. It's a lot, it's a big deal. But don't ever let one of those emotions or feelings have to do with another person. Meaning, don't ever be hindered because you don't want to do something, and then your business flops. If you are trying to prove to somebody, or even if it doesn't start off that way, but then it becomes that way where you want things to be perfect, then you're going to have some disappointments. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some challenges, but you just get through them. You definitely get through them, right? So don't let that hinder you, right? Don't let that hinder you. And definitely don't compare yourself to other agencies. If you compare yourself with other agencies, or even me, even my like startup story, you would probably, feel like you're behind when you get started. Last story today, remember I told you I spoke to 5 people from Indiana. 5 people from Indiana were on my call today. Out of those 5 people, 3 people are already licensed. There was there was a clear distinction between this one young lady who contacted me, who says she's been licensed since January and she is stuck. She's been licensed since January and she said it's stuck. So I'm like, okay, you're almost at your 9-month mark. I asked her how many clients she had. She said she had 3 clients. I said, okay, great. You know, we got to continue to celebrate our milestones, our success, even after we get licensed. And she says she's stuck. She is only Medicaid. She only has those 3 clients are Medicaid waiver, right? So now she wants other ways to market her business, to grow her business. I said, okay, great. Now, guess what? I spoke to someone else from Indiana. She's been licensed for 3 months. Well, maybe not 3 months. She's been licensed since March, guys. So 3 months after this person's been licensed. She is generating $37,000 a month. She's on her way. If she keeps this up, she will be at um, almost a half a mil within 12 months of her business starting. She only does private pay. She's just about to submit her application for Medicaid, for the Medicaid waiver in Indiana. Now, what's the difference? One person is stuck and overwhelmed, did everything they thought that they should be doing. They got licensed, they did credentialing, um, did some marketing, got 3 clients. Other person got licensed, did some marketing, tried multiple different things, got 12 clients. The difference is the effort, the difference is the mindset, difference is the marketing plan too. Because one person, she told me specifically where she was marketing, knew where to go. Other person said she knew where to go, and I thought she did, but you can tell by the results that she doesn't. Something's off. I asked her, I said, well, I need to see what your marketing material looks like because something's off. Great question. T is asked on Facebook is asking, when in a non-regulated state, how do you recommend writing policies and procedures? Great question. Even if you're in a non-regulated state, I suggest you mirror the requirements of a neighboring state. Because guess what? We have no idea. Even there, Ohio was once a non-regulated state. And then all of a sudden, they became regulated. Anticipate that change can happen to your business. And then for those, 4 or 5 remaining regulated state, once you get into wanting to get become a Medicaid provider, you have to present policies and procedures. So you don't dodge it forever. You don't, it's not something that you like never have to address. Do you get it? Can you say, I don't have to do it right now? Absolutely. But the policies and procedures are a guide for you. They help you to run your business better. They give you structure. And if you're going to operate a successful first six figure, then seven figure, and hopefully eight figure business, you need to have systems in place. Like one of the things a a a supplemental insurance company might ask you is, what is your policy on what's your billing policy? They could ask you for your billing policy and you don't have one. They can ask you for a policy on how do you screen your workers and you don't have one. So you don't get away from it. It just gets put on hold initially. I have my site visit Monday. It's a video call. I also did a contract app with workers comp. Okay. Site visit. Where are you located? Because I didn't get that. Revised rules and regulations came out after I submitted my policies. Procedures had to revamp. Absolutely. Yep. That's a good point. I want to point out on TikTok, AM Quality in Home Care said that revised rules and regulations came out after their policies and procedures and they had to revamp. Yep, you got to. And it may not even be all of the policies and procedures, it could be five. And guess what? You got to redo them. I'm answering questions now. Hi there. What do you think of a home care business with a rug and thug service for older men? I'm not sure what do you mean, rug and thug. What's your question? Realize. I don't want to butcher your name. What's your question? I am in. I'm having an issue locating affordable office space. Where are you doing a non-skill? Because you can start in your home with a home office. Why are you trying to get a office space right now? Okay, let me do this. And like I said, I'm just gonna do three more questions and then go from there. I know this was long, but did you guys who have been on for a good amount of time, have you found this information to be helpful? Have you found this information to be helpful? I will reclarify this tomorrow. What does that mean? Who were you told by? Can you have a home office in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I have not published a training on how to get private pay yet. Thanks for asking, Tony. Not seeing the link. No. So what I'm going to do is based on the other calls I got today, I'm going to start my fall home care. I every year I do a fall home care marketing boot camp. Now I call it fall, but it really covers fall, the holidays, and winter, right? So it lasts a little bit longer. And my capacity for getting some things together, because I was supposed to be going out of the country to see my mentor, um, push that back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the fall home care marketing boot camp earlier. The home care Kickstarter program starts on Monday, September the 8th. So my thoughts is we're going to start the fall marketing boot camp that same week on Thursday. So I got the home care Kickstarter, um, which goes 9 weeks on starting September 8th. And then I would start the fall home care marketing boot camp on the 11th, which goes 6 weeks. So that's what I'm thinking of. And so we're going to be going over how to get those private pay clients um, in that boot camp. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to drop the link to the program by Monday. By Monday, we're going to have that up. There's already some people that want to join. But thank you so much for asking. Because I'm going live. You guys are like, oh, wow, Sean's on again. I'm going live now, right? I'm able to go live now more regularly because I don't have any programs going on. Once my programs are back up, it's almost like school starts. We back into doing our programs. Once that is started, I don't do as much lives. So take advantage of, that I'm on here. I'm trying to give you guys some foundational pieces. So whether or not you join my program for startup or my program for growth, you have I'm just going to be sharing some valuable information. Yes, I'm still having a conference in Baltimore. Okay. You need help with getting licensed in Georgia, then you can join the home care Kickstarter program. If you want to talk to me before joining, jump on my call schedule. I do calls every Thursday. Yes, I'm gonna do a reel on that. Because I can't explain it enough. That's a very common question. What's the difference between home care and home health care? It's a very common question. I don't mind answering that. And guess what? It must not be enough clarity out here because you asked. How much does what cost? The home care Kickstarter program? Correct. I have a mentee that just got licensed in South Carolina, non-skilled. She did it from her home office, and she's a nurse practitioner. She did it from her home office. You don't. You don't. No, the conference is not just for new people. It's for people already in business too. And here's the thing for the conference. I just said earlier, and I have to make a decision by tomorrow. I might be pushing the date back to November the 8th. So, which is kind of good because we have about maybe, let's say, I wouldn't have to send out too many emails. November 8th. for two reasons. I wanted to get more information from some of my legislative friends of what's going on with the effects of the Medicaid cuts that are affecting different states, right? um, and it's a good, I'm so glad that you asked if this conference just for new people. We have, I've been talking to um, wound vac companies, right? In short, um, you can build a whole service model if you're skilled. I do have to preface that on wound care. Those visits are very, very profitable. There are people that generate for that service line alone can generate an additional 200,000 a year, right? It's a short-term service, but it's a revolving door. So um, the same speaker that is going to be going over the CON process and helping people who want to be Medicare certified, even if you're non-medical and you're like, you know what, let me listen in on this whole Medicare certification process. Maybe not now, but maybe further down the line, I might want to do that. You'll be able to get all that information. She is a DNP, which is like a doctorate of nurse practitioner, right? She is like she's like, Sean, you need to get, these doctors that we know on the panel so they can explain what they're looking for when we send over home care orders. Now, that might be a little bit more geared towards the skill, but I also was going to have the same doctors say how what a non-medical home care agency owner can say to them to get them to refer cases to them. So when I tell you that when God gave me this idea from startup to stack up, like I literally saw like that you were, that's why he told me to do it as an intensive. Like you were literally in a place where you were getting like magnified information. Magnified information. Okay, so you have a wound vac company that you can get referrals for, or can help you with getting referrals for in your state, right? You have a one because this one has like several different locations. You have a I'm not gonna say the name of the doctor. You have this uh this doctor, this specialty telling you what they want to see on when on your home care orders so that your claims get approved, and then how to approach them or other doctors like them in their specialty so that you can get these kind of referrals. And then we have she didn't want me to say it yet, but I had the lady that's doing the non-medical emergency transportation, and even another coach consultant, because I always try to work with other coaches or consultants if I can, if they have a good personality. Now she does the medical lab, right? She does medical labs. So if you hear that, you might know who I'm talking about. She does medical labs, and we work together very, very well, even online. Like she has her own business. She actually does consulting for home care, and she does really, really well. But reason why I want her to do medical lab is because what most people are not understanding with these changes, telehealth, mobile services, and home care are going to be they're going to be good partners. Doctors need us because they're going to be more on the screen, guys. They're going to be more on the screen. Doctors need us. if you go do some research, I'm always reading, telehealth is going to be the new thing. A lot of doctors are going to be switching over to telehealth. Mobile services, a lot of mobile, they're even doing more mobile services for individuals with disabilities. One of my old clients, he has cerebral palsy. You guys may have seen, I have like this picture where, it's me and him when he was younger, and me and him, now he's like 30 years old. He's a little bit over 30. Like he's considered individual with the disability, but he's also considered um, medical or skilled because he has a G tube and he has seizures, right? So with that being said, when his mom has to take him to like LabCorp, they can't handle that. So now his doctor has recommended he have medical service come to the home to do things like drawing his blood. He's starting to get more mobile services come to their residents, right? These are all being paid for by the state, or this is what we would call supplemental insurance. You as a non-medical home care agency can find your square to fit within that puzzle, right? So because I wanted to give them more time on their schedule, that's why I just contacted my event planner to say, let me know if November the 8th is available. And if it does change, you will guys will definitely see a new flyer out. You will see a new flyer, right? That's the first thing. You will see a new flyer. And it's still a Saturday. So you're not gonna have to do a weekday. So if you're driving in, you don't have to like not be working. Like if because we do have people that still work. I'm totally understanding of that. So that's my idea, to give them more time to build up this panel. And I even have a lady that I work with here in the DMV. She was at this healthcare government contract conference that I did. Me and her worked together. She's a nurse. She actually owned maybe like 20 group homes. I know you like, Sean, but you said you weren't going to do any group homes. What I want her to talk to you about is not necessarily the group homes and how to get one started. But what I wanted her to talk to you about is all of these local government contracts that are available, and how you as a nurse or non-nurse can get access to them, right? Because the way I got on it and the way she got on it are just the same. We kind of just like fell into like some good government contracts. Now hers generated her 100 million over like a 20-year time period. So essentially that's like $25 million a year, right? Mine's generated, if you guys didn't already know, I have contracts with 5 school systems. So that one, remember how we talked about scaling? That's how I knew I didn't scale until after I got my 5th one, right? Because when you're in the scaling phase, you have to have systematic growth. You can't have random growth. You have to have systematic growth. And that's how I can tell someone, no, you're not in the scaling phase yet. And that's how that took me over, where people were attracted to buying my business out. I had all of these contracts, all of these opportunities underneath my company. So mine's was before I transitioned over at 65 million. At 65 million. So in a private setting, I can talk to you what that looks like, what that could look like for your business. It's kind of hard to do that in a TikTok, YouTube setting. And it's very possible. It's very possible even now. Don't let people think that the government is not giving out contracts. They are. So before I go, tell me what you guys think about that November date. Does that work for you? You want to start adult daycare? I don't do adult daycare, sweetie. I'm sorry. Okay. Arkansas has introduced an increase for PC rate, but decrease in hours. Okay. So what you have to do is work on I did a video earlier about if your clients' hours are getting cut and you are a Medicaid provider, you need to do two things. In short, the two things you need to be working on, you need to do your own audit of your client files, and you need to make sure that your workers are documenting that care is provided. Most of us, most people only document that they're sitting down watching soap operas with their client. They're not showing any activity. And you got a care plan and they're not showing any activity. So you need to fix that. Tell your client, you need to train your client how to do an appeal process. You need to look up a Medicaid attorney in your state. Those are my 3 recommendations. Yep, add wound care to your home. You can't do it if you're a home care agency because you're non-skilled. T. I love the idea, but I just want to be clear because we're going over home health versus home care. You can't add wound care services if you are a non-skilled service. Why? Wound care has to be ordered by a doctor. That right there tells you I can't do it because I'm non-skilled. I don't take doctor's orders. So unless you mistyped and you meant for my home health agency or my home nursing agency, then you can't do it yet. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, home health is home health care is skilled care. Home health care is skilled nursing, RN, and LPN. When you get to home health agency, it's skilled nursing, RN, LPN or LVN, PT, OT, and your home health aides. So that's the difference. Great question. Remember, if you are new to if you haven't started a home care business yet, please click the link in my bio. I'm going to have it added to my website. Please click the link in my bio to watch that free video on if you want to start a home care business, watch this first. It's a free video. Jump on that, get that video. If you want to join the home care Kickstarter program, this is our last program for the year. I only do this 3 times a year. We do the winter right after the new year. We do the spring. We don't do the summer, and we do the fall. This is the last one for the year. That one starts on September the 8th. We meet once a week on Mondays. Yes, we meet in the evenings. I think we do 8 p.m. because I like to give time for people on the West Coast. And then because Tony so gracefully asked me, hey, Sean, I thought you was doing a private pay training. Well, I wanted to do a 4 to 6 day private pay challenge. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to the fall home care marketing boot camp, which that will be set on September 11th. So let me push those things out. Oh, I love it, Tony. You added healthcare staffing to your non-medical. You also submitted your Medicaid credentialing, your own medical credentialing, and got approved. Oh, thanks. I'm glad. Where are you located again? Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad to hear that. Yep, that was the other thing we're gonna get is healthcare staffing. Healthcare staffing. Guys, there's so many opportunities out here. Do not let people lead you wrong. Are we going to have some challenges? Yes. Some states more than others. Some states were really bad with their budgets, right? So those states are going to have a lot of changes. But let me tell you about a guy who contacted me. He has an agency in New York. He has 700 clients in New York. He just started an agency in Connecticut. He wants me to help him start an agency in Virginia. And he didn't complain. He wasn't like, oh, he just said, I want to be in more places. I said, I wish some of my new people can I wish I could carve out a piece of his mindset and just put it in some of my new people's who are just so they can have that same kind of hope. And he's like, I want to deal with the Medicaid community. He's not afraid of the so-called cuts. He's not afraid of that. And neither should you. Oh, you're in Maryland. Okay, great. All right. I'm so glad that you added the healthcare staff. All right. I really gotta go. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Bye guys. See you next time. I'm not sure about tomorrow. I got a couple of appointments, but definitely next week.